In the vast tapestry of human history, there are moments when faith becomes a whisper, and moments when it becomes a roar. Today, we travel into the heart of Mexico during a time of deep turmoil, a period when faith itself was driven underground, and yet shone brighter than ever. This is the story of a joyful, daring, and deeply devoted priest, Blessed Miguel Pro, a man whose life reads like a symphony of bravery, humor, faith, and ultimate sacrifice. Mexico in the early 1900s is a land in transition. Political instability, revolutions, and rising anti-clerical sentiment grip the nation. Churches are shuttered, priests are watched, and believers are increasingly forced to worship in secret, their devotion becoming a quiet rebellion. Yet in this turbulence, something extraordinary takes root, a faith lived with courage. Our story begins in 1891 in the bustling city of Guadalupe, Zacatecas, where a child named José Ramón Miguel Agustín Pro Juárez is born into a warm, devout Catholic family. Little could anyone have foreseen that this cheerful, mischievous and sensitive boy would someday become a symbol of faith under fire. From a young age, Miguel Pro is known not for solemn piety, but for laughter, infectious, bright and disarming. He plays practical jokes, charms everyone around him, and possesses an uncanny ability to lighten even the darkest mood. Yet behind the humour lies a profound spiritual sensitivity. He is deeply moved by those who suffer. He gives freely to the poor. And though he conceals it behind his trademark smile, he carries a heart that responds to God with quiet intensity. By his late teens, Miguel feels something calling, a gentle, persistent tug on his soul. And so he enters the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, beginning a journey of formation at a time when religious life in Mexico is becoming increasingly dangerous. As anti-Catholic laws tighten, seminaries are targeted. Religious orders are persecuted. And so Miguel and his fellow Jesuit novices are forced to flee the country, continuing their training abroad. His journey takes him from the United States to Spain and then to Belgium. Through each step, his naturally joyful personality becomes a balm for others. He is known as the clown, the joker of the community, and yet also the one who prays the longest, who listens the deepest, and who encourages his brothers when morale falters. But beneath this radiant exterior lies a man who suffers in silence. Miguel endures chronic stomach pain so severe that at times he can barely stand. He undergoes multiple surgeries and long periods of recovery. Yet not once does he complain. A fellow Jesuit once remarked, "He suffered like a martyr, but joked like a child." In 1925, after years of study, suffering and formation, Miguel Pro is ordained a priest in Belgium. The world around him is collapsing into political extremism and unrest, and events in Mexico are growing increasingly grim. The Mexican government, now firmly controlled by anti-clerical forces, enforces strict laws against the church. Public worship is banned. Priests are hunted. Entire swaths of Catholic life are pushed into secrecy. And it is precisely into this darkness that Miguel chooses to step. "I must go back," he declares. "My people need me." Against medical advice, against every reasonable concern for his own safety, Father Pro returns to Mexico in 1926. His mission is clear: to serve his people in the shadows with creativity, courage, and unshakable trust in God. What follows is nothing short of cinematic. To evade the authorities, Miguel dons an astonishing array of disguises: a mechanic, a businessman, a beggar, a wealthy aristocrat, a street vendor, and even a theatre actor. Each disguise grants him access to those who need him most. Imagine him slipping through the back alleys of Mexico City. One moment, he approaches a checkpoint as a refined gentleman, tipping his hat politely as soldiers wave him through. Hours later, he returns to the same street, dressed as an aged labourer, carrying food and medicine to families hiding from persecution. He celebrates Mass in darkened rooms, whispers confessions in basements, and provides spiritual comfort in the dead of night. A government agent once admitted, "Father Pro seemed to be everywhere and nowhere. We could never catch him." Despite the very real danger around him, Father Pro remains joyful, irrepressibly so. His humour becomes an essential part of his ministry. Laughter disarms fear. Joy reinforces courage. One night, disguised as an electrician, he climbed into a home where a family anxiously awaited confession. "Forgive me," he whispered dramatically, "for I must fix the electrical wiring of your souls." He baptizes children, blesses marriages, provides last rites, and restores hope to people living in constant uncertainty. Most of all, he reminds them that Christ is near, even in the shadows. But as the government grows more desperate to suppress the underground church, they search for a scapegoat. When President Álvaro Obregón is nearly assassinated in 1927, the regime seizes its opportunity. Father Miguel Pro, his brother Humberto, and several others are falsely accused of involvement in the attempt. There is no evidence. There is no trial. There is only a swift, cruel decision: execution. Yet even in the face of death, Father Pro's spirit does not waver. He prays, he forgives, and he comforts his fellow prisoners. On the morning of November 23, 1927, Miguel is led into the courtyard of the police headquarters. He asks for a moment to pray. He kneels. He whispers the words he has long cherished: "Thy will be done."
Viva Cristo Rey! Long live Christ the King!
A photographer ordered by the government to capture the execution, to intimidate the public, instead inadvertently immortalizes Miguel Pro's courage. The images stir outrage and admiration across the world. Rather than quelling the faith of the Mexican people, the execution of Father Pro ignites it. Thousands openly attend his funeral despite the risk. His bravery becomes a rallying cry for the persecuted. The man they sought to silence becomes a voice that speaks to generations. A voice that says, faith is more powerful than fear. Joy is stronger than oppression, and God's presence shines brightest in the darkest places. In 1988, Pope St. John Paul II beatifies Miguel Pro, honouring him as a martyr of the faith. Though nearly a century has passed since his death, Blessed Miguel Pro continues to inspire deeply, especially in a world filled with anxiety, division, and uncertainty. What does this man teach us today? First, he teaches us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act with love despite it. Second, he reminds us that joy is a weapon, a spiritual strength that confounds darkness. Third, he shows that faith is not merely something to profess. It is something to live with creativity, tenderness, and unwavering conviction. In a time when many feel pressured to hide their beliefs or soften their convictions, Father Pro stands as a luminous example of authentic witness. His life echoes the words he shouted moments before his death: Christ is King, in life, in suffering, and in triumph. As we conclude our journey, let us imagine Father Pro in those final moments. Arms outstretched, eyes lifted, heart aflame with love. Not defiant, but faithful. Not angry, but entirely surrendered. This is what holiness looks like. Not perfection, not pride, but trust, radiant, courageous, and complete. May his example inspire us to live our own faith boldly, joyfully, and without fear. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Blessed Miguel Pro. May his courage be a guiding light in your own walk with God. For more stories about the lives of saints, please like and subscribe. God bless.